This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
Hi, I'm Uriah from CMDR Decks, and today we're doing a very special unboxing from the Magic Commander 2013 boxes. We're going to unbox the new set, Evasive Maneuvers. This is the Bant colors, which is blue, white, and green. The deck is Evasive Maneuvers. Let's get into it. So Devri Imperial Tactician is the main commander for this. It is a Bird Wizard, a 2/3 for blue, white, and green. The awesome thing is when it comes into play, tap or untap a target permanent, or whenever it deals combat damage, you can also go ahead and put it directly from the battlefield into the command zone, which is at instant speed and it cannot be countered. This is going to be a really crazy legend, maybe one of the most powerful from Commander 2013, so keep an eye on this guy. Other commanders in this box, the new one is Rune of the Hidden Realm, a 4/4 for 5 mana, Vigilance Trample, exile another creature till the end of turn. And then the reprint, this is the new art for Rubina Soulsinger, originally printed in Legends. You may gain control of a creature and choose not to untap her, and keep that creature as long as she's remained tapped. So let's get into the deck itself here. We have some Learn to Play and Commander information packets there. So here we have the smaller version of Devri Imperial Tactician. Kazandu Tuskcaller, going to give us some token creation if we level her up. Some more leveling here in Hada Spy Patrol. Eventually can be unblockable and shroudy. 3/3, not too bad. Mistmeadow Witch is a great card from Lorwyn block. Pay 4, exile a target creature, return it to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Selesnya Guildgate, make dudes bigger. Pilgrim's Eye is a great way to get a cheap flyer into play and also fix our mana base some by getting a basic land and putting it into our hand. Farhaven Elf also gets a basic, but it puts it directly into play tapped. We have Phantom Nantuko, enters the battlefield with 2 counters. You can add more counters to it. Whenever damage is dealt to it, remove those many counters instead. It's a great defensive card. Mirror Entity is a crazy card that gives your creatures all creature types and +X, where X is the amount you pay. This is a real backbreaker, especially with a very aggressive deck. Stonecloaker, a quick and easy way to get problem cards out of graveyards. Also a flash flyer, if you want a 3/2 flash flyer. Deceiver Exarch comes into play flash, and either untap target permanent you control or tap a permanent an opponent controls. This is a card that's great with Kiki Jiki, but that's in red, so we can't play it with this deck. Fiend Hunter comes into play, exile another target creature, leave the battlefield, return that creature. Flick Wisp, 3/1, enters the battlefield, exile another permanent, then it comes back again. This recently saw print in Modern Masters. Thornwheeled Fairies, this is a reprint, the original art. It's unusual we get a blue that taps to deal damage, but we have it here, a 1/1 flyer on 3 that deals 1 damage to creature or player. Winged Kotal, flash flying death touch, pretty much a terror in blue-green. Angel of Finality, it's a new card, a angel on 4 mana, she's a 3/4 flyer, enters the battlefield, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. Really good if you can bounce her and start hitting other people's graveyards and doing it multiple times. Wonder is great in our graveyard, gives all of our creatures flying if it's dead and we control an island. Dungeon Geists, a reprint here, and when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. It doesn't untap as long as Dungeon Geists is on the play. Lu Xun Scholar General, a Portal 3 Kingdoms reprint, a 1/3 horsemanship. Whenever it deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. Not a lot of horsemanship in Commander, honestly, so this is going to see a lot of essentially unblockable damage getting through and a lot of card advantage into your hand. We have Aerie Mystics, gaining Shroud, it's a flyer. Diviner Spirit, printed also in the Grixis and the the other deck that escapes me right now. It's a 2/4 on 5. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you and that player may draw that many cards. Usually going to get through and deal damage because drawing cards is really good. We have Karmic Guide, a $10 card from its original form in Urz's block. Hasn't seen play until the Judge foil from a couple years ago. This is the Judge foil art now in non-foil. A 2/2 on 5, flying, protection from black, echo. When it enters the battlefield, though, return a creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. She is a super strong creature. If you've never played with Karmic Guide, you're going to be happy to open up the deck with this. Acidic Slime, super utility. You obviously know what this does if you've played Magic at all within the past 3 to 5 years. Azami, Lady of Scrolls. She is a crazy creature with as much untap and tapping in this deck. She can go pretty nutso, and she's going to draw you a lot of cards. Now, if you're new to the Commander format, be careful if you decide to build a creature deck or a deck out of her. She is a legend, so you can build a Commander deck with her, but she is a very, very good Commander, and a lot of people will go after you very quickly if you play an Azami deck, so just be careful. Rune of the Hidden Realms, the smaller version of the card we talked about earlier. There's a smaller version of Rubina's Soul Singer, again with the new art from Cynthia Shepard. Murkfiend Liege. Other green creatures get +1/+1, blue creatures get +1/+1, and untapped green and blue creatures during each player's untap step. Now, this is going to be a non-bow with Rubina, so be careful for that. And also, not really as good as Seedborn Muse or the new card, Prophet of Krufex, which just came out in the Theros block. So maybe you want to upgrade him and transfer out that card for Seedborn or for Prophet. Djinn of Infinite Deceits, a 2/7, which is a big butt for a 6-mana flyer, and you can exchange control of 2 target non-legendary creatures. You just can't do it during combat. So this is a great way, a political card, to mess with either your opponents or make some of your smaller creatures turn into better creatures that your opponents have. Bane of Progress is a new card from this set. It's a 2/2 for 6, but when it enters the battlefield, destroy all artifacts and enchantments, and then it gets a +1/+1 counter for each permanent destroyed this way. This is going to be pretty good for green decks out there that want to see a lot of just creatures on the field. We have Skyward Eye Prophets, a reprint from the Shards block. Soul Ring, which is a reprint in each of the 5 commander decks. Some Artifact Mana and Selesnya Signet, as well as Simic Signet. Surveyor Scope is a new card from this set. For 2 mana, tap it, exile it, then search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of players who control at least 2 more lands than you control. They go onto the battlefield, don't go into play tapped, so that's very useful. If you're playing against a lot of ramp strategies, this is going to be a very awesome card, and obviously it scales and gets better in multiplayer. Swiftfoot Boots, which took the place of Lightning Greaves in this set compared to Commander 2011. We have more Artifact Mana, which turns into a creature with Azorius Key Ruin. We also have a reprint of Basalt Monolith. This is with the new art from the Cube. Basalt Monolith, pay 3, can tap for 3, pay 3 to untap it. Doesn't untap during your untap step. Very good card, especially with all the untap abilities in this deck. More Artifact Mana with Darksteel Ingot. And Leonin Blade Trap. It's a flash artifact for 3 mana. You can pay 2, sacrifice it, deal 2 damage to each creature that attacks without flying. There's a lot of small stuff here, at least in the Commander 2013 boxes, so it's actually a pretty useful card. 1,000 Year Elixir are going to give us a lot of the tap abilities as haste abilities, which is super awesome. Also, paying 1 and untapping a target creature just for tapping it is really powerful. This card is crazy good in Commander. Thunderstaff seems sort of out of place in this deck because it's not really an aggro type of deck, but I've heard from people that this is a very good card and it's a little underrated, so give it a try and see what you think. We have Sword of the Paruns. This is going to untap or tap stuff for 3 mana each time, and then depending on whether your creatures are tapped or untapped, you're going to get some bonuses either on the power or the toughness. We have Conjurer's Closet. This, I believe, from the Innistrad block, and it's going to start blinking stuff at the end of each end step. So a lot of great come into play abilities are going to be doubly useful with Conjurer's Closet. Darksteel Mutation, a new card from this set. For 1 white, 1, it's an enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature is an 0/1 insect artifact creature with indestructible. It loses all other abilities and all creature types, so a great way to nerf one of your opponent's big creatures. Flicker Form, this is a reprint from the original Rav block. It's a great way to exile something and turn it back. Also, all other enchantments stay on it as well, so it's very useful if you have a bunch of stuff on one creature. Curse of the Forsaken, we saw Curses originally in Innistrad block. They're brought back here for Commander 2013. This white one gives a 1 life for each creature that attacks enchanted player. The life may not be super useful here for this deck, so this might be a card that gets cut pretty early on if you decide to modify. Curse of Inertia, the untap theme comes back here again. Enchanted player, whenever a player attacks enchanted player with one or more creatures, the attacking player may tap or untap target permanent of his or her choice. Super powerful. And Curse of Predation, the green curse for 1 green and 2, enchant player. Whenever a creature attacks enchanted player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Again, this is happening all before the blocker step is declared, so your attackers could get bigger than their blockers very quickly. Presence of God, tap, put a 1/1 green elf creature warrior token into play. We have Control Magic with the new art. I believe that also is the cube art from MTGO. It's been a while since Control Magic saw print, so this is awesome. We get a reprint of this control enchanted creature for 4 mana. Leaf Drake Roost, enchanting a land. Put a 2/2 green-blue Drake creature into play. Arcane Denial. Haven't seen this one since Fallen Empires, I believe. New art on this counter target spell. Its controller may draw 2 cards next upkeep. You also draw a card. Selesnya Charm, some flexibility. Target creature gets +2/+2 in trample, or exile target creature with power 5 or greater, or put a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance onto the battlefield. All that for just 2 mana. Crossing Grip, one of the staples of Commander. Split second, destroy target artifact or enchantment. If you're playing green, you probably want to be playing Grip, so that's a great reprint. Aether Mage's Touch. It's a card reprinted. 1 blue, 1 white, 2 instant reveal top 4 cards of your library. Put a creature card among it onto the battlefield, and at the beginning of your next end step, return it to your hand. Put the rest of the cards you revealed onto the bottom of your library this way. Unexpectedly Absent. This is an amazing card and will likely see Legacy play. This is a card that could go up in value quite a bit. For 2 white and X, it's an instant. Put target non-land permanent onto its owner's library just beneath the top X cards of the library, which means you can put it directly on top for 2 mana, and you can put any of maybe your creatures if you want to save someone from dying, any of your opponent's permanents on top of their library. If you're playing in Legacy and they go to crack a fetch land, you pay 2, get rid of their permanent permanently. Blue Sun Zenith, draw a bunch of cards, put it back in. Restore, put target land card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. This is a new card from Magic 2013. May likely see Legacy play because you can get back fetch lands or wastelands or pretty much any land at all from any graveyard, which is awesome. We have a Portal 3 Kingdoms reprint in Barring 100,000 Arrows. For 1 blue, 2, it's a sorcery. Draw a card for each tapped creature target opponent controls. You're going to be tapping a lot of creatures with this deck, so this could be very good. Washout. This is a reprint originally from Invasion block with new art. Return all permanents of the color of your choice to their owner's hand. This can be a blowout, especially against a monocolor deck. We have a tempting offer for white. 1 white, 5. It's a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Your opponents may do so to theirs as well, and then you can do so again for each opponent that chooses to do that. So you could get a ton of counters on your creatures, depending on how many opponents you have that actually choose to do it. The only problem is if your opponents have more creatures than you, it may not work out in your favor, so be careful for that. We have Kurtar's Wrath. This is a reprint. Destroy all creatures can't be regenerated, and if you have Threshold, then you get 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. This is also a cannot be regenerated if it is Threshold. Getting into the mana base now, we have some white-blue fixing. Getting some basics. Command Tower, a super amazing reprint. The best way to fix your colors at a super cheap cost. Some more fixing. Faerie Conclave, a creature land. Get a 2/1 blue fairy creature token for 2 mana. Opal Palace is the new land from Commander 2013. Tap for a colorless or a colorless and tap it. Add 1 mana to your mana pool that your commander's identity could create. Then if you spend the mana to cast your commander, it enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it, equals the number of times it's been cast from the command zone of this game. So the first time you do it, it's +1, the second time +2, so forth and so on. We've got some more mana fixing in Rupture Spire. Secluded Steppe to add a bunch of counters to remove for a big spell late in the game. Seaside Citadel for all 3 colors. Some cycling lands, some more white-blue fixing, green-white fixing, blue-green fixing. Temple of the False God, add 2 mana if you have 5 or more lands. Just a great card. some basics, 5 colors, and it looks like we're now to the basic lands. We have forests, plains, and some islands. Thanks for watching this unboxing of the Magic Commander 2013 product. Please subscribe and favorite.